I reserve the right as the chairperson to remove or have removed any person or persons because of profanity, threats, or continued disruption of a meeting. So roll call for the benefit of our guests. Nancy Bershoff, chair.
Member.
Alyssa Valbona, member.
John Hoffman, health director.
Nicole Blayback, health inspector.
Okay. All right. Minutes of October 6th. Did Alyssa, you and Kelly have a chance to look them over a bit? Okay. A motion to approve. I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Okay.
Present,
Any discussion about the minutes or corrections?
I didn't see anything.
Okay. All right. All those in favor? Okay. Minutes approved. Thank you very much. I'd like to move on to something from the last meeting, the 2019 plastic bag ban. Actually, it's a plastic and paper single-use bag ban.
and styrofoam.
Right. Yeah, it's got a few. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't remember seeing. I went through the original text and didn't see that, but I know it was there. So, okay. A motion to, I'll make a motion to reinstate the single-use plastic bag ban and styrofoam ban. Second to the motion. Alyssa or Kelly?
I can second that.
Thank you, Kelly. And then if there's any discussion about it, I went through it. I don't, I just wanted to know the contents and know what we were getting back into motion. Although it turns out from my conversations with people who know more than I do about this, that the compliance has been pretty good anyway, even though it was the ban was discontinued for a while. There is one business, and I won't name the business, that has been a problem, but we will see how it goes going forward. So, anything else from anybody? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right. So the plastic bag ban is reinstated. Thank you very much. Do we have, oh, that's right. Megan's not here today, right? But you're giving the report on COVID, Jen?
Correct.
Okay, go for it.
So currently, as of right now, we have 9 cases. Out of those 9, 4 are vaccinated. We have 7 on quarantine. We're still working up a hockey case. There were 140 individuals involved. So most of them are not in our jurisdiction, but we have to still just work around that. So the end of October, there were a total of 40 cases, 16 from 2020 if you compare. September, there were 115 cases, and some of it we can attribute to, I feel, wearing masks in the community, and because the vaccination rate is only 64% in Greenfield. Currently, like I said, there's a total of, one sec, I have my notes all over the place. There's a total of 1,098 cases, 128 were confirmed cases, and 70 are probable cases, and that's cumulative since we started monitoring COVID. The highest rate of COVID in the community is 30 to 39-year-olds, followed by 20 to 29, then 40 to 49. So basically 20 to 49 are the ranges of people getting COVID, which are also the same population that aren't vaccinated or as highly vaccinated. Within the last few months, we had 6 deaths. 5 were vaccinated, 1 was unvaccinated. So Massachusetts and Franklin County are still considered high risk. The average daily incident rate in Massachusetts is 18.6. Franklin County, it's 10.2. Percent positivity is 1.7 in Mass and 1.1 in Franklin County. The average daily incident rate, and this is old data, this is because it gets released every Friday, so this is as of the 28th, was 4.6. 4.6 as the average daily incident rate. But I'm not sure what that's going to be or how it is going to be. I did look on Maven for Greenfield the last 14 days, how many people were positive, and 16 people were positive in the last 14 days in Greenfield. So that's basically it. Our numbers dropped. Some could say, attributed to many different things. But overall, it looks like we're doing good with COVID. As you know, the mayor has rescinded the mask mandate. Today, there was a press conference on November 8th. The people don't have to wear masks inside. So there it is.
Thank you very much. All right, well, it's just information. I expressed my concern to the mayor when I met with her about the holidays coming up, where people are gathering. They're absolutely going to gather. We're going to be indoors more at the end of the fall here, or the warm weather season. So I'm concerned. On the other hand, I see that cases are dropping all over. My hope is that it will continue, that if we get a bump during the holidays, my hope is it won't be too much, and that we will continue to see a relatively low hospitalization rate. So it's a hope. Nobody knows. Nobody's got a crystal ball. We'll see what happens. I do know that there's one new variant being followed in Britain called the Delta Plus.
Yep.
And there's not more information about that I have. I don't know if anyone else is.
It's virulent as Delta. And I still think they're determining if the vaccination protection rate, like we saw that, the current vaccination with everyone's titers dropping lower. That's why there was such a recurrence of people getting, that's what the CDC was saying, that the longer people were not vaccinated. So if your last dose was over 6 months, people were having more of a chance of getting positive from COVID. So I don't know, but it's the same virulence as Delta. That's what I know.
Well, I'm about to get my booster at CVS tomorrow. It will be the Pfizer, and I had Moderna as
They are offering Moderna at Rite Aid and Walgreens.
Oh, well, Walgreens not in Greenfield. They offer it in Northampton. But I didn't know about Rite Aid. Anyway, I'm going to get the Pfizer, get a mix. All right. Anything else anyone wants to add about COVID? Okay. All right, Title V code review.
Someone had a question, Nancy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nancy, it's Kelly. I had a quick question.
Yeah.
I apologize for missing the meeting last month, but have we talked about, just going back to the COVID numbers and things like that, have we talked at all or thought about as a board, just moving forward, going into the colder months, have we talked about or thought about just what our criteria might be for reinstatement of indoor, like what numbers are we continuing to look at the data as far as hospitalizations, things like that? I know we've talked about it a couple of times at various meetings, but wasn't sure if we had kind of come to any decision or conclusion of what we as a board might consider?
The answer is no. We haven't thought about any particular criteria. You know, my way of thinking is I'm watching, and I trust my inner alarm system to tell me when it's time to do something, and then would share it with you. And I trust that other people would do the same. If you're increasingly concerned and you haven't heard from us, Kelly, definitely send an email.
Okay.
Let's have a conversation about what's going on.
I think continuing to
Thank you.
monitor hospitalization rates is a pretty good yardstick to use. I personally don't find the comparisons between last year and this year super, I mean, they're interesting, but not super helpful because we're just doing such different things this year than we were doing last year. So the numbers don't seem super comparable to me, but the hospitalization rates seem like a helpful, helpful metric.
So we do follow hospitalization, hospitalizations and ER people going through the emergency room. I get emails every day from Deb Provost at Bay State Franklin. And when they start transferring people over to Springfield, I follow up with my contacts there. So what we do follow is how many people go into the unit, their length of stay in the unit, how many are vaccinated and unvaccinated, and how long they stay at the step down. What we do notice is that the people that are going into the hospital are sick or longer. And a lot of times there's a big throughput through the emergency room, and they do let us know if they're vaccinated or not. They're told in the ER that if their symptoms get worse to come back, and then they'll admit them, but they don't admit everybody. They monitor them. But I get those reports usually once or twice a week, and I pass that information along just as information. So I don't know if admission rates are kind of based on, because we have a small community hospital, I don't know how reliable that is, in my opinion, because they send a lot of people home to monitor. But what we do watch is how sick people are and their vaccination status. But I think Megan sent a chart. 1 second. Just trying to find my paperwork. That out of the cases we've had so far, why am I finding the number? Out of my number, the chart's all messed up, so just give me 1 second. I think it's 121 cases. 84 of those people were vaccinated.
Well, that's certainly bothersome. I'm not sure how to exactly interpret that. And
Understood.
that there were of the deaths that were recorded during October, the 6 deaths, you said 5 were vaccinated.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of, I mean, I don't think we need to really dive into it now, but there's a lot of complicating factors to that. I mean, what we're trying to do here is like observational epidemiology, which is like really challenging because there's just so many, the age, the other health issues someone might have, you know,
Only one person was above 65 that passed away with
yeah.
comorbidities. Everyone else was much younger.
Sure, it's just complex.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah. But we can, that was just a sort of a note on what Kelly said about how we can, you know.
Well, I think the long and short of it is, personally, I think I look at the incident rate, and then we look at spread, because sometimes you could just have an isolated case. But we look at how the community spread is. For example, this one cluster that we have, and the spread of 140 people, like, that we're watching, that's a significant, not everyone's positive, but we have to watch that. So I think that there's other metrics that we look at as a health department that's more, you know, the average daily incident rate, the percent positivity, hospitalizations, but that's kind of lower on our list. You know, before they used to look at intubation rate. We know that you don't really have to intubate anymore to treat COVID unless you're very, very sick, right? So, because there's other things they can do. So I think we kind of look at local community spread, and just how it spreads out. And I think my main concern, or I'm going to speak on behalf of Megan. Pool testing started very late in Greenfield in the schools. It started about a month ago, and there's not enough staff to help do pool testing efficiently. Where the superintendent wrote to the National Guard, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happening with that to try to get pool testing underway. But they're noting that children are getting it because there's spread within the family since people are home. And then it's like, how do you monitor that local spread within the family to the school to their friends? And it just goes on and on. So that's what we kind of look at as the health department, if that answers your question. So we don't necessarily go by hospitalizations because we've never really blown away. There's only 4 ICU beds in Bay State Franklin, and then they transfer the rest to Springfield.
Thank you all. I just, like I said, I just wanted to kind of have us thinking about it too, going into the next couple months. But I agree, the complexity is crazy, and I agree that this is not how it was last year either. So I mean, it's nice to have a visual of 16 cases in 2020 versus 40, but there are so many mitigating factors now, and factors that go into the complexity of it all. So yeah, it sounds like you guys are doing the appropriate thing by looking at it in terms of length of stay, vaccinated, unvaccinated, and some other factors. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, moving on. Title V code review. Jen or Nicole, I'm not sure who's leading the charge on this one. One of you.
Well, we've had 2 separate things this past week or so about Title V, and there is a code that we follow, and that we follow code regulations for. But there's certain things that there are no local ordinances, or local ordinances that we personally had at Greenfield. We asked around local communities and see what their boards of health have done. One of them is the COG, and because they have multiple towns around. And I provided you their local septic regulations, which are all the Hilltown areas. And their concerns that we had, specifically number 7 on that handout I gave you. Of course, that came out a couple of times. Number 7 is, give me once, maybe it's not 7, hold on. Give me one second, it might not be 7 because I looked at it quickly. I'm sorry, it's 8B. Dwellings or systems subject to inspection under 310 CMR 15.301 are not currently occupied or have not been receiving normal flows prior to the inspection shall be identified as, quote, needs further evaluation by the local approving authority on the inspection certificate. Such dormant system shall not be certified as a pass until approximately 6 months of normal flows have been passing through the system, and the system has been subjected to a reinspection. The Board of Health shall then make a determination based upon the results of the initial inspection and the subsequent reinspection. This requirement shall not conflict with the requirements of 15.301(1). So, I mean, we didn't have anything specifically local to Greenfield, and these are kind of just really spelled out specific things that we follow, but we just wanted it in our local ordinance in the health department, and that's why I brought it forth to the health department, to the Board of Health.
So the local septic regulations document that you shared with us is the current regulations from FERCog.
Yep.
And in addition, this particular section, is that new? the one that you just reviewed with us? No, it's just what this is. You just wanted to.
When it's
explain
clearly
it.
spelled out and defined.
Got it.
So when we restart, we didn't stop doing Title V, but when we restart in the spring and we send out information to people that do septic design and proposal and so on, so we could send this with them so they have an updated list of the regulations in Greenfield.
Okay. So one question that I have as I went through this is, at some places that you say health department, but other places you say Board of Health. So I wonder if it should be the health department shall not sign off on any building permit application, blah, blah, blah. Just wanted to clarify that because we're not always around to sign off on stuff.
I usually look through the plans and approve them, unless there's a question and we would bring it to your attention like we have
Yeah,
a couple of times. And then the actual the actual systems themselves, if they're a fail, we inform you. Or
yeah.
if there's any further evaluation, we inform you.
Okay, so it should be, this should be corrected to say health department, or if you want, you could put Board of Health / health department.
Okey doke.
You know, one or the other, but in many places in here, it says Board of Health. So I
Okay.
just thought, you know, say number 10, location of system components, the Board of Health shall not sign off, blah, blah, blah. So
Okay.
same thing. Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll correct it and resend.
Okay.
I agree. I had one other question too, Jen. I think the document's great. I think you noticed the typo that was in 8B
Yes.
with the
Yes.
versus they. But I had a quick
Yeah.
question on section 2, the purpose. And this may be what your intention was. You used the word assure, and I was expecting ensure. And I know that sounds like it's just, you know,
Oh, fourth sentence?
that
Yeah,
semantics, but
regulations are
to
necessary.
ensure,
It could be
to me,
ensure.
is a
That might be the
stronger.
wrong word. Ensure.
I don't know the
Assure means you're just trying to kind of help people to feel reassured, you know what I mean? Whereas ensure means
Absolutely.
you're really, there's an action there, you know, and I feel like that's probably the more appropriate word.
Absolutely.
And then are we going to put a date on this too, or should we put a date?
I will. I wrote
Definitely.
proposal.
Yeah,
And once you got, once I correct and edit, I could put the date on then and the bottom.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's got some great information in it.
Thank you.
do you
Yeah.
want us to sign off on it today, assuming that you'll make the corrections we just mentioned?
I'll leave that into your discretion. I mean, I would be happy.
You would be
Unless
happy?
you want to see the edits,
No, I don't have a need to see the corrections.
Okay.
So why don't we,
I agree.
okay? And I move that we accept the local septic regulations with the corrections as identified.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion about this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, ladies. Okay, what's next on the agenda?
Property
Lost my
update.
agenda. There we go. Okay. So property inspections and follow-up. Some of these that I listed here we may not need to talk about, but I put them in here anyway.
I have I have a lot of updates.
Okay, yeah.
So 186 Conway and 20 McClellan were on their way to receivership. 186 Conway has a potential buyer, but since it's in the hands of the Attorney General, they still have to fix the code. So that's in discussion right now with this potential buyer, and they're investigating this potential buyer. 20 McClellan, there was the owner of that property has passed away, and there's 9 family members looking at the property to decide if they're going to keep it. Again, it's still with the Attorney General's office, but that's on pause. 51, I'm sorry, I have the wrong address, 5153 Place Terrace. That has actually taken a big turn the past couple of days. We are moving ahead to an emergency court proceeding, and we have condemned another apartment within that three apartment house. One of the apartments we condemned is still not really up to spec. We condemned a new part that's borders on Wells Street because he still is not heating that apartment, and they're using their oven to heat their home, as well as the electrical that the tenant did, not by a licensed contractor. All the electrical outlets are exposed and they're plugging heaters into that. The landlord has not made any attempt to try to make any of the corrections dating back to March of 2020. We have written multiple orders to correct. He has close to $15,000 in fines against his property. He's done nothing. And so the property was condemned again. There's only one apartment left. And now in that last apartment, we are fining the middle apartment because they have, I think, two big dogs that the tenant just has them poop all over the front. And we've asked them to clean that multiple times. They have not. So now we called animal control and they're fining them every day. So this basically just enough is enough. It's a dangerous situation for the people who are living there. And, you know, this past year, since Nicole and I have been working this case, we're proceeding with emergency court. So I just wanted to let you know that. The other thing is that I've been working with MJ Adams, and I'm trying to get my thing up. And we've been working toward receivership. That's why you heard about those two properties. But our new inspector, Ruben, who does mostly housing, we have 10 properties that we have condemned since September 17th to the middle of October. I'm following up with the second letter to the either bank or owners, and I am emailing the Attorney General's office to proceed with receivership. I already have 3 receivers on the docket that are interested in all these properties, which will open up homes, hopefully not tomorrow, but in the near future, to get back on the market. So we're actively looking at vacant properties and trying to not have vacant properties on the market as well. And that's all I could think of with housing. Nicole, am I missing anything?
Do you
No,
want?
we have 199 South Shelburne on there, but I haven't drafted the letter for the owner yet.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, questions or comments from the board? Okay.
One more thing about 5153 I left out. The Attorney General's office is aware of this property. The Attorney General herself is determining if she's willing to put that house into emergency receivership. The court in Springfield is aware of this property because we've been involved with it so long. So we have a receiver if the court finds to take the property away from the owner and say we have a receiver. I just wanted to let you know that the Attorney General's office is aware of that property. So either way, it's going to be rectified soon, as soon as I get a court date.
That's the Shelburne Road.
No, that's 5153 Place Terrace.
Oh, we're back to Place Terrace.
Yeah, I just forgot to mention about, I saw my notes on something else. I'm sorry.
No.
South Shelburne, the letter has to be drafted, but things happen, and then we will send it to your approval and then mail it on.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sanitation problem update. I'm not sure what that was. Is that about the porta
That's
potties?
usually like porta potties, garage. There haven't been any significant issues with the garage. DPW checks frequently. Walt from Carson's Cans, I haven't had any major complaints, but he's kind of been out of the loop a little bit due to personal issues. The health department purchased signs to put into each porta potty. He's coming to collect them this week to put up in the porta potties as reminders not to throw sharps and diapers and things that can't get disposed of properly into the porta potties. But I haven't had any significant complaints from anyone in the community about the porta potties or about sharps or about defecation in the garage or energy park.
Wow. Good. Glad to see something is moving in a more positive direction.
Talking about a positive direction, can I bring up that news real quick? I
Sure.
told you about.
Yes, yes.
We were awarded a grant from the state, $125,000 grant for 2 years for nursing COVID funding. It's basically for, I'm going to get all the description of the grant. It's out there, so it's public, but we're just going to get the description from the state about what we can and cannot do. But that is extremely great news that we were provided that grant.
Great.
So that's other good news, sanitation and grant
Yeah.
award.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that is great news. Okay. Health Department fee schedules.
So we provided you all with different fees. One is ours, one is from East Hampton, and the other is from the COG. Why am I not finding it?
Yeah.
And basically, we're requesting that you review the fee schedule because our fees are considerably lower than our counterparts. Nicole, do you want to take the rest of this one? I'm getting dry throat.
Sure. So which ones did we give you? What others?
East Hampton,
We got East
Um,
Hampton,
the COG,
Yeah, for COG,
And
East
ours.
Hampton, and ours.
Okay. And did you guys have a chance to take a look at them?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
our fees have always been significantly lower. I don't know. So, I mean, we just need to raise them.
right, then we need to increase our fee schedule, I think. East Hampton is a good example because per populace, and the COG is also our counterpart in the hill towns. So, and if people say this is too much money, this is what other people are charging in surrounding towns from us. And I think trying to find the ones we had a problem with. Give me one second. I know, I'm trying to find it now because I didn't, I brought the wrong one.
Well, we talked about like the septic one, but
Yeah, but no, but it was food inspections definitely were lower. Sorry.
Well, let me just offer a suggestion at this point. So I had a chance to kind of look over them, but not as much compare one, because there's a lot of, a lot of categories here. So one thought I had would be to have a proposal and do like just a spreadsheet of what the old ones are and what the fees are, say for FERC. It seems like we ought to align ourselves with FERCog. To me, that makes the most sense. And unless there's some big objection to doing that, I would suggest just a document to say what the new fee schedule would be, and maybe the change, relative to what we currently do, and just hand that to us next time, because I quite honestly can't think
All right.
about the specifics here. So does that make sense? And are you willing to
Sure.
do that for us?
Put it in order of priority, at least what, the health department feels should be recognized.
I agree.
Sure.
I think it'd be great to have some sort of comparison, and all three of these schedules are great in and of themselves, but they are all different. And as somebody that this is not something I do on a regular basis, it would be helpful to see like what, you know, if we adapt for COGS, you know, what their asking price is versus what, you know, we want to increase ours to. I have to say that I kind of like the way that the East Hampton Health Department fee schedule is set up as far as just ease of being able to look at it and review it. It's not small print. It talks about risk level. And I think that moving forward, we might, I mean, want to consider for your 1-page form that you have for like food inspections, you know, maybe associating some sort of risk level or like a number, like if they meet certain number of yeses, then, you know, it might be a different fee than, you know, if it was just one incident versus 3 or 4 or something like that. But again, I don't know exactly all of what you do and how you do it and if that makes sense for the work that you do and how you do it, but I like the risk portion of it.
I agree. I
Yeah,
will
I
get
thought
that
that-
to you for next month.
Yeah, I thought that was well done as well, and it seems like a good template to use for us. I agree with Kelly's comments. So
Something for you guys to marinate as we give you a different document. Sorry that that wasn't complete.
Yeah, no,
it
this is
takes a
great.
while to get through stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I would like to make one more
Yeah.
suggestion too for our form for the foodborne and retail practices one that you attached as well. There's some spacing things as far as like some of the NAs got cut off and some other things
Oh,
which I
the
can.
proposed food thing?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
foodborne, it says foodborne illness risk factors and
Yep.
public health interventions, that one.
Yep.
There's a couple places where things are cut off a little bit. I think it's just basically moving lines down and everything. And I would suggest, since it's on 2 pages as it is, I would just make the space that you need and just make it a one piece of paper, but double-sided. And that way you'll get all the stuff that you need on there, and maybe make it a little bit bigger for older eyes.
Well, understood. Since are we moving on to that
Well,
topic?
that's a different, yeah. So all right, let's make sure we're done with the fee schedule thing, because the new you're talking about the new FDA document, Kelly,
Okay.
correct?
I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to
Yeah,
skip
that's all
ahead.
right. I can see how you mushed them together because we're talking about similar things. So we're done with the health department fee schedule, and we'll revisit that next month. Okay, now the restaurant inspection update. That's what
So
we're
I'll
looking
let
at.
Nicole do restaurants, but before we do that, since Kelly brought it up, attached to you guys, we gave you our food establishment form that we use when we do inspections. And the one that Kelly was speaking about is the proposed new form that we want to use to do our inspections. So basically, the one we use now is very basic and critical violations only. We don't just look at critical violations when we walk into any food serving facility or even someone that just sells bagged chips. We look at a whole bunch of other things. So we provided this form, which is it's literally the FDA template,
Yeah.
and the Massachusetts Food Code merged with the FDA. So I can make corrections for it, but we're very happy with this. Like, we like the way it looks. We like what it asks. We would have separate things like on the back of our current form. We have certain descriptions of emergency codes, so we have it right away. However, excuse me, when we write our reports in the future, we're changing how we actually write our reports now. We're scanning our inspection reports into the database that we have, and we're taking photos. So we were going to actually get back to the people and say, unless it was a critical thing and we had to close them, and say, here's your report. We don't necessarily have to give it on the spot, but I would like to give it within 24 hours and say, this is what needs to be corrected. And that we can do with this type of, it's a little bit more detailed, but I think it's clearer about what we're saying, because some of the things we find, we have to write on a separate form. It's a blank form, and then we handwrite in what we find wrong. This pretty much has everything that we would normally find wrong. Is that correct, Nicole?
Yeah.
So that's why we brought it to the board, because we have to order new forms anyway. That's coming down the pike. So since we're really needing to order new forms, if we can order, if you guys like it and I make the corrections, we could order these forms.
I really like it. It may be that it just didn't print right for me too, but just a lot of different sections seem to have gotten cut off, and it might just be the way it printed for me, but I like it in general. I think it's great. It's got, shaded areas and focuses of, certain things and everything. I think it's great.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's a great form.
So
I love a good form.
Yes, same here. Yeah.
all right.
And I like that idea of trying to get, this scanned in into the places in a timely fashion. I think that's helpful.
And thank you guys for that. And Nicole, who is really working hard with restaurants. Go crazy, Nicole.
Okay, I just opened up the spreadsheet that we have going. Okay, starting, I guess, I'll start at the top. So my most recent inspection that I had gone to was 99 Restaurant. They had a concerning inspection. They had multiple critical violations. A lot of it had been taken care of by the time I had gone back the next day, because I had some question about their warewashing system was temping at like 140 degrees, but turns out they have a sanitizer for a low temp dishwasher. So that worked itself out. But there are some organization issues, just some buildup and major cleaning that needed to be done. Let's see where else I've been. Alchemy of Avalon, the new tea place on Miles Street. Today I went to the
I'm sorry, what on Miles Street?
Alchemy of Avalon.
Oh, what is that?
It's a tea shop.
Oh, gotta go see that. I like tea.
Yeah, she's got all different kinds of loose leaf tea and stuff that she makes there, and then they get all their bakery products from Rise Above.
Oh.
It's right across from Mesa Verde.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Super
Go
cute.
ahead, sorry.
Super cute. Today I went to All Souls Church. The inspection was for the Stone Soup Cafe. I didn't find any issues there. Besides, they might have a small rodent issue. It's normal this time of year, but they need to stay on top of it.
And it's the church, not Stone Soup.
Yeah,
Stone
it's
Soup
not.
rents space from the church. So that
Yep.
we want to clarify with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had no issues with her. Everything was great. Let's see. Who else? The Arbors. That is a beautiful kitchen. I've been to Applebee's. I guess I'll just go through the ones that I've done. Athens Pizza, and I'll tell you if I have concerns. Subway on the Mohawk Trail, Big Y, BHN, Bay State Franklin. That is a gorgeous kitchen as well. Beijing House, they had some issues, but when I went back the second time, everything had been corrected. I went to Buckley. I had a really nice inspection there. Catalpa Coffee, that's a really cute coffee shop. It used to be Greenfield Coffee. Let's see. Circle K. Ohm Country Mart, they had a couple of violations, but it was out of date cream cheese that they had overlooked. Dollar General on Coleraine Road seems to come up often for us, not so much for food, but the organization that they have there. And I don't know if they just get so much stuff when their orders come in that they don't have time to like put it out, but it gets left in the aisles, and then it becomes an issue for, what is it?
ADA,
For
American
ADA,
Disabilities Act, yeah.
yeah, for ADA compliance, like a wheelchair wouldn't be able to get down an aisle.
And it could be a fire hazard if the aisles are blocked. So
Shipping, yeah. So they just leave their carts out there and don't really unload them to shop off of.
it's not efficient. They're working on their efficiency.
El Greco, which recently opened back up. Oh, I got to go to the Elizabeth House. That is a old house
Veterans.
that has veterans living in it. I believe it's for sale. Basically, they have a woman there that cooks for everybody. Where else did I go? Greenfields Market. We had a couple complaints about Greenfields Market, but everything checked out with them. There was a little bit of cleaning that needed to be done in the deli area, and I think that's what people were seeing. But behind the scenes, everything was done really well. They had a lot of logs and stuff for cleaning, and they had temp checking logs that they did like 3 times a day, which is really great for me and great for them because they know when something starts to fail that they have to have somebody come in and do work. I inspected Hot Diggity Dog, which is a new food truck that you might see around. They're going to be doing the football games, and I think they did on the Common the other day for the Rag Shag Parade. I inspected the John's On Kitchen and also Two Rivers Recovery, which is a all-woman recovery place. And that's just a community kitchen that they use. It's almost more like a residential kitchen. But that's pretty much all the inspections I've done. So,
That's a lot.
yeah.
A big list. Nice work. Good job, Nicole.
And there's still
Have
way
to
to do.
say,
Yeah, I'm sure there's a
have to
lot.
say, Nicole is amazing, and Ruben, or the one that does housing, is amazing, and the city is running like clockwork. I couldn't have done it without both of them. They're amazing, and the city and the board are lucky to have these 2 people on our team.
Yay.
Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right. Board of Health violation fines review. I think I misplaced that document and not sure what we're supposed to do here, but
So I don't know if I thought we talked about it.
yeah.
Maybe,
I'm
and this was the
confused.
fine of approval when I do a housing inspection, and if they don't comply with the order. And we're not fining like everybody. This is like, above and beyond situations. Like, we understand if people are pressed for money and they work with us. Because of the economic times now. I'm talking about real significant insult that need to get corrected. And that's when we would fine. And the code from the Commonwealth allows no less than, I think, 10, but 5,000, I think, is the maximum. And I was looking at $100 for a violation, besides the inspection fee. So the first time we go to a house, we do not charge an inspection. Re-inspection for the same violations, not a follow-up, there's a fee. And then if we have to keep going back, we charge a fee. I think it's $125. So if we have to keep going back to a property, that's $125. And if they don't correct the order to correct that we give, that's $100. So it could be $225 a day, every day for the order not to be corrected. And that's what we wanted approval for. And I thought you guys approved that last time,
Yeah,
but
maybe we did.
maybe I'm mistaken.
Or,
Does this sound familiar? It
Yeah.
does, right? Okay, so I think this was a mistake to be on there. That's why I'm just going. I thought we did,
okay,
but
yeah, okay, well, you know, my confusion too, I was looking at it and I just included it. All right.
good to review.
What?
It's good to always review.
Yeah.
We could
Okay.
put that on the bottom of our, like when we write down all the fees too. Because I think on our fee schedule, the consecutive inspections are on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the inspections are, but the fines for violations are different. So
I think-
that's
Right.
whether we were doing $50 a day, I think that's what we agreed on. And then they accumulate, and so, you know, and the last question, of course, and hasn't been answered, is there a maximum that we can levy against you know, and I know you're working on that, Jen.
In
Well, the
certain,
mayor gave me a new lawyer to reach out to for an immediate
Okay,
response. I got that today. I will reach out.
okay,
in certain codes, it'll say like no more than,
$5,000 or,
yeah, it depends on what it is.
I mean, there's certain codes like for pool violations that if you don't have a certain, if chemicals aren't placed in the right place, it's a $10,000 fine. It's a federal fine, and that has to be paid Johnny on the spot. So, you know, that's not a charge. So there's certain fines that we have to give, and then there's certain fines that we can choose to give depending on the situation.
okay. We're close to time here. I don't want to go over if we don't have to, and I think we're done then. So I'd like to offer time for public comments. Any of our guests tonight interested in commenting on our meeting?
Someone just wrote a question.
Yeah, in the
Where
chat.
was it? 28 people in exercise class yesterday, all masked. How about the library? As far as I know, the indoor mask mandate as of November 8th will no longer be in effect. People choose to wear their masks, they can.
Okay, thank you.
Except on like public transit and in healthcare facilities.
That's
Right.
different.
Standard.
That's different.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just indoor, like
Yeah.
buildings
Yeah,
such
this is
as,
just
you know,
right.
restaurants and stores.
I believe City Hall is still requiring them.
Yes.
I think that's
Public,
what
yeah,
the article said.
yes,
Yeah.
the answer is yes on that.
Correct.
Okay, any other comments from our guests tonight? Okay. The next meeting, so we've decided to lock in the second Wednesday of the month for
First,
our,
I thought. Not the first Wednesday?
oh,
I also
this is
thought it
the
was the
first,
first.
you're right. You're right, this is
So
the
the next
first.
meeting would be December 1st
Yeah, December 1st. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
at 5?
Yep. I will let Caitlin know. And I think we're good. Okay. I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.